Welcome to the Tantra and Yoga podcast. These podcasts are recorded live at Anuttara ashram with Artemis and Bhairav in the Nishka Nation of northern BC, Canada. They bring clarity to some of the fundamental questions by spiritual seekers along the path of awakening.
Can you guys touch on dreaming? Is there any spiritual significance in our dreams? Do they can it help us or?
Yeah. There's a lot around dreaming, actually. I think at this point, for myself, dreams can be a beautiful way to see our unconscious. But sometimes we can get kind of transfixed on, the wildness of a dream, and we miss the message that's lying underneath. These books where you can look up, what does it mean if there's a bear in your dream, and what does it mean if you're, et cetera, et cetera. Then there, to me, are never as true as looking at the dream yourself, because what a bear means to me may be quite different of what a bear means to you. So this is one person's interpretation of all of these different symbols, which may hold some significance, but more as indicators. Rather, our own, how did the dream make me feel? Not what happened in it, not who was there. How did I feel when I saw these people? And then what's most important there is to not get lost in, okay, how can I solve this problem in my life? I need to confront A or B who appeared in my dream because clearly I have an underlying issue with them. More, if you really want to use dreams to wake up to the truth of your being, is to see what part of my ego is this speaking to? What part of me feels identified here? What part of me feels, and not that you need to solve it, but just to realize that there's a stuckness, Let's try to make an example. There's a, let's say I really identify as a baseball player. And in the dream, I lose the baseball game, and it's devastating to me. There's a lot of suffering in the dream. It is a bad dream. That I can go into how I can be a better baseball player. I can try and feel better about losing games and talk to some sort of sports coach and really get into the material side of things. Or I can see that as an opportunity to be there's a part of me that's very identified with being a baseball player. So much so that it's the worst thing ever to lose a game. Does that kind of help? Yeah, in understanding what I'm talking about? So we get caught, I think, in the imagery. We get caught in how I can fix this in my life. But every dream is an opportunity to turn back and see, who is it playing for, is kind of a really important part.
And at another level, in Tantra, I don't know about other traditions, especially, shamanic traditions, they put a lot of emphasis on dreams. But in Tantra as well, Guruji will place a lot on dreams. For example, his wife Guruma will have dreams, and she's endowed with that kind of ability. And then Guruji makes sure that happens. She had this dream of a big Shiva lingam. We have one up in the yoga hall, this small one. But she had this dream of this big one, and the temple extending, and all of this. And Guruji wants to do this. He wants to fulfill that because he sees it being important. And not only in Hindu Tantra, I have a friend who went to a monastery in India, in the Tibetan tradition, which is also Tantra, the Vajrayana. And she was there with her friend, and they spent one night. And the next morning, the main teacher, the guru who was there, he brought them forward and he said, "So, what were your dreams like last night?" And they said, "Nothing in particular." Whatever the dreams were. And he's like, "Okay, well, see you later. You don't belong here. You're not part of our lineage. You can leave." So although in our tradition it's not like that at all, but they're emphasized like as being really important. But yeah, what that importance is, it's really hard to say. Actually, to go a little bit deeper into it, when one becomes a real yogi, one who has realized truth and is no longer building karma, they'll actually not have to sleep as much. They'll sleep 2 or 3 hours a night just to go into deep sleep. Because a lot of what the dreams do is it's a lot of unpacking from the day before. And we know how it is. Like, somebody said one thing, somebody said another thing, and then the next night you'll dream about it, but they'll kind of be linked together somehow. And it's kind of like this unpacking that we do. If we had a really violent day, we could have like a violent night or anger coming up in dreams and whatever. So it's this unpacking. But somebody who's fully present all the time won't be taking any of this on. It'll just be flowing right through them. So then actually they just need to focus on the main part of the sleep. They don't need to have that dream aspect, which is like most of the sleep. Really, they can just go right into deep sleep, deepest sleep, even consciously, and then come awake. But it's also really good to not try to push this either. Like, oh yeah, I got it all solved. I'm gonna try to sleep less and less like this, because you can have negative effects from this. Sleep whatever you need to. Because I went through this practicing yoga, not thinking that I had everything solved, but went through this like, oh, I'm doing so much of this kind of yoga, pranayama, whatever. I'll start to shorten my sleep, and I did this for a while, but then it has negative consequences, just because you get chronically tired and a lot of different things. So.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if it wasn't obvious for everyone that like how. I think, what Bhairav is saying is obviously true, that when we're more awake or present throughout the day, then we're not needing to process so much at night. And so that is where, for most of us, we're not present all day. And that's why there's a lot of stuff needing to be processed, a lot of dreams, a lot of stuff to sort through. And you could have a very good teacher, let's say, who can interpret your dreams for you, but to come across this is quite rare. Britt and I actually both went to the same dream school at some point at different times, but even to be close enough to that teacher that she would help you interpret your dreams was hard to do. So what I guess I want to make sure is clear is that we can receive, almost as beings who don't know what all of the dreams mean, we may be able, it's an easier practice to try to see how that's reflecting to our person, to our ego, to our mind, than to try and sift, and also to get caught up in maybe making a big deal out of things that aren't really a big deal, compared to that Tibetan master who's like, oh, you didn't have this dream? Well then, it's very obvious you don't belong here, you're supposed to be somewhere else. So, yeah. But it is a path. There's many traditions that involve the dreams. But to do it on your own, I feel, is like wading through the mind. Mm-hmm.
If you found this podcast helpful, be sure to follow and turn on notifications to be the first to know when new episodes are released. To embody philosophy through practice, join our Sangha membership to access a wide range of Tantra and Yoga classes and community. Hari Om.